Hello and welcome to this week's Power Engineering International newscast. I'm Dermot Williams. In this week's global power sector headlines, France underestimating costs of nuclear decommissioning, Drax offers to end coal burning in return for green subsidies, ENGIE to offload Polish coal-fired power plant for $567 million, and RWE's Therium stands over decision to suspend dividend. Leading energy academics are warning that France has insufficient funds reserved for decommissioning its nuclear reactor facilities. EDF has set aside €23 billion to cover what it estimates will be the €54 billion cost of decommissioning the 58 nuclear reactors and safely storing their radioactive waste. Yves Marignac, director of energy research group WISE Paris, told the FT that the true cost of decommissioning and waste disposal for EDF will possibly be 3 times more than the company anticipates, and added that it could prove disastrous for the group if they have to readjust assumptions. His view is shared by Jean-Marie Chevalier, a professor emeritus at Paris Dauphine University. France estimates it will cost €300 million per gigawatt of generating capacity to take apart a nuclear reactor, far below Germany's assumption at €1.4 billion per gigawatt, and the UK's of €2.7 billion per gigawatt. By contrast, Germany has set aside almost €38 billion for the decommissioning of 17 nuclear reactors. Meanwhile, France, with more than 3 times as many reactors, has €15 billion less for the same process. EDF and the French government say they are confident they can deliver on the decommissioning programme, helped by the standardisation of the country's reactors compared to other countries. Critics are also pointing to EDF's net debt, €37.4 billion at the end of 2015, along with several investment commitments, as further evidence of the strain on the company's resources. The head of Drax says they are willing to accelerate the closure of its coal-fired power units in return for green energy subsidies to help develop its biomass power facilities. Dorothy Thompson told the Financial Times the company would be unable to transform the rest of the plant from coal to biomass without the subsidies, but if offered the incentives, could be in a position to close its coal capability inside 3 years. Drax has already turned its 42-year-old Selby power station into one of the world's biggest renewable power generators over the past 4 years. They've done this by upgrading nearly half of their 6 coal-fired power boilers to burn wood pellets mostly imported from the US. But it has only done this after receiving subsidies and other support worth £451 million in 2015, or 17% of revenues at the power plant, which supplies about 8% of the UK's electricity. France's ENGIE has confirmed its wish to sell its Polaniak coal-fired power plant in Poland in a deal reported to be around $567 million. Polish media had earlier reported that ENGIE had put its assets in Poland up for sale, including the 1,800 megawatt coal-fired power plant in the southeastern town of Polaniak. ENGIE plans some €10 billion worth of asset sales by 2018, including fossil fuel-fired power generating plants, as it refocuses on gas networks, renewables and energy services. Finally, the boss of RWE is defending the company's decision to scrap the group's annual dividend. Peter Therium said the move had been necessary, warning that the utility was facing a downgrade by credit agencies soon. The fact that the Supervisory Board unanimously approved the proposal shows that this decision, while difficult, was necessary, he said in a speech at the group's annual general meeting. The proposal in February to shelve the dividend for ordinary shares for the first time in at least 6 decades is a direct response to an ongoing decline in wholesale power prices. That's all from today's Power Engineering International newscast. You can read extra about these stories and more, including magazine articles and blogs, on our website.